Today's show is brought to you by Martinez Drywall. Around here, you don't gamble on who's going to finish your project. You go with a proven team. Martinez Drywall has built their reputation on reliability, craftsmanship, and a promise that they'll always make it right for the customer. From remodels to new constructions, they've got you covered. Martinez Drywall, where the house always wins, and so do you.
Extraordinary ones, firefighters, coach, managers, and more. Unique jobs and skills, we break them down to the core. Listen up close, there's so much to explore. Break it down, video games are all the fun. Dissect the passion, see what makes them run. To break it down, podcast shining a light on those who dare to live life a little differently.
Welcome to another episode of the Break It Down podcast. My name is Matthew Hansen, and today we have someone who helps run Afuera Coffee, Matt Igoe. Matt, how are you?
Doing great. Thank you, Matthew. How are you?
I'm doing well. So first off, tell us about yourself.
So my name's Matt Igoe. I am the founder of Afuera Coffee. I'm based in Connecticut, although currently living in Central America in El Salvador. So
it's a little bit of a
different different, right? So I've worked in the media business my whole career, and working in New York City during the pandemic, my wife and child and I were stuck in this little box of an apartment, and the minute the airport opened, we came here to visit her mom and to just get out for a little while, and we never left. So, here we are.
So what made you start Afuera Coffee?
Yeah, so we came here in 2020, and, this area in particular is ripe for incredible coffee. It's grown right essentially in our backyard. And so the coffee was a big piece. And then I'm a big outdoorsman. Afuera means outdoors or outside in Spanish. And the biggest element here was trash. So like I'm, on the beach or in the ocean, I noticed there was like a lot of garbage. So it was like, okay, how can we make a difference, right? What can we do to make a little difference? So when our kids are walking these beaches, they're not seeing all this garbage in the oceans or on the beach, right? So originally I wanted to make our bags out of like recycled garbage, but cost quickly was really difficult. But it was really a matter of, I love the outdoors. I wanted to make a difference. And most outdoor activities, a lot are generated or happen around the morning, right? Like that time in the morning when you're getting ready to fish or go on a vacation or go surfing or whatever it is. You've got this hype that's going on. You're generally brewing coffee and pouring it into a Yeti. And it was like, all right, we want to be that coffee. We want to be the best coffee that we can import, have a whole sustainable side to it, and also make a little bit of a difference, right? So put a big charity piece to it and be a business that isn't margin first, but margin last, which is kind of rare in these days.
Yep. That's like when I first saw it, I was like, oh, guys, was it 5% of all profit helps outdoor and land preservation?
It is. We wanted to make it impactful, and we understand that, everybody likes coffee, right? And everybody says they want to make a difference. So it's like, okay, why not drink really good coffee? And while you're doing it, realize that you're making somewhat of an impact, right? And knowing that the farms that those beans are being grown at are sustainable farms. They're taking care of the communities that are working there. There's, thought and care behind it, right? And then what we do at our checkout process is we allow the consumer to choose where you want your 5% to go, right?
Oh.
So if it's 1% for the planet, or if it's Captains for Clean Water, or various other charities that we want to work with, or we may have an other box, right, that says, hey, you know what, you can choose whatever charity you want. But the idea is to make the consumer feel like, hey, I just bought this product and now, oh, cool, right before checkout, I get to choose where my money gets allocated to. So, yeah, I want the people to feel like they're, tangibly making a difference. And, we've always known that our coffee will be on par with any other coffee. I'd challenge that. So it's like, okay, if you want really good coffee and also with a cause, like we've got this whole bundle, right? And we took it a step further to make all of our packaging sustainable as well. So we're in the midst of getting our second batch of bags, and like our bags, we will be able to put in a garden. And they'll be fully compostable. Our labels will be compostable. The little valves that allow the gas to release will also be compostable. So we're doing everything that we can to make, a difference in this world that certainly needs it.
Oh yeah, definitely. What type of roast levels do you have for your coffee?
Yeah, so we do a light, medium, dark, espresso, decaf, and as I mentioned, we're introducing new bags, which will allow us to introduce some special editions and some, winter roasts. For example, we're going to introduce a December roast that will run through the holidays. So yeah, it's really incredible that the guys that we source our coffee from and where our roaster is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We go down there a couple times a year and do these tastings. They're called cuppings. And man, you taste some coffees that would blow your mind. They're as like they're like the color of tea, or even some are as more of like a white wine consistency in terms of like darkness. And they still have this robust coffee flavor, and it's really wild. So we're constantly tinkering with what else we can offer, but our staples will always be light, medium, dark, espresso, decaf.
I know last week we were emailing back and forth, and I just received the medium roast, and so I'm
Nice,
like,
sweet.
so we quickly put it in, and we had some bread with it. And me and my wife took a sip of it. We look at each other like, wow, this is pretty good.
Thank you. That's awesome to hear.
Oh yeah, so we will definitely be promoting that from all of our branches of social media for sure.
Thank you.
So what made you start getting into coffee? Like you could have done a different, like you said, you're an outdoorsman. You could do a fishing thing. What made you go to coffee?
Yeah. I'm an early bird, first of all. So I wake up wicked early, and I've always been a coffee guy. Like even in college, granted it was like with cream and sugar, many times like battling a hangover, and like it was always like the first thing is coffee, right? And now it's like, much more of my life is driven around, if I can be the outdoors, my family, and, working, then it's like always the first part of my day, right? And specifically when it applies to doing outdoor activities, it's like, it's like breaking bread, right? You've got this cup of coffee, you're with one of your buddies, you're in the car driving to the beach, you got all your gear in the car, and you are like talking about your hype of the day, right? Like, oh man, we're going to go do this. We're going offshore. We got this. We got all our gear. This is the game plan. You're drinking coffee and you've got this whole adventure ahead, right? So we wanted to, really fuel, while cheesy and cliche as it sounds, right? Like everybody in the outdoors. And, I've realized, like, whether it be wine or anything else, cheese, you start getting into it and you can really decipher the difference between really good coffee and mediocre coffee, right? And when I got into working with these guys and getting really good coffee and going up against people that call themselves, connoisseurs, and being like, hey man, I'll put my product up against yours, and just like, that's it. That's all I'll do. And you tell me. I'm not going to, my feelings will be okay if you hate it. And knock on wood, everybody really enjoys the product, right? So like, and I wanted to be able to get into different outdoor passion points. So I have fish on my bags right now. our new bags are going to allow us the ability to change the art. So we may have surfing waves on there. We may have campfires on there. We can have ski, trail maps. We can do all sorts of different art to kind of apply to that person's outdoor passion, right? It's like if you start something in fishing, well, then, man, you're stuck on fishing, right? And I've seen other coffee companies that, they want to be Rod and Reel Coffee Co., right? Well, we wanted to be, yes, I have an affinity towards fishing, but like I want every outdoors man and woman to want to have a Afuera in their cup, whether they're camping or hiking or rowing or whatever that they want. We want to be the fuel.
Perfect. Where do you see Afuera Coffee in 5 years?
Oh, it's a great question, man. I mean, we're predominantly a direct-to-consumer business right now. We are starting to dip our toe into some retail. So in 5 years, I see us having a much bigger retail footprint. And by certainly not abandoning our tried and true loyal customers, like they always come first, and we will do things to make sure that they know that, right? But retail just gives you so much more brand visibility and scope in terms of like reach, right? So I'll give you an example. We work with various fishing lodges and outfitters where we create custom coffee bags for them. And they live in that lodge, and it might have their logo on it. All of it fueled by Afuera coffee, but it's, Mathew Hansen's, outdoor lodge, right?
Yep.
Well, our next step is to say, okay, well, why couldn't that be in Bass Pro Shops or wherever the other retail outfitter may apply, right? Where it's like, hey, it's Afuera coffee collab with brand here. And so like our push is to really start focusing on that, if possible. So that's on like the business side. And then working to really streamline like our niche of passions, right? We've got a fishing passion, whether it be hunting or skiing or the others that I've mentioned. But that's really the 5-year goal is to expand, but not necessarily also with SKUs, right?
Yep.
I know people always think like, oh yeah, you got to make more stuff, and if you make 50 coffees, that's better. No, I'm going to have our 5 or 6 really good coffees that are always there, and then we'll introduce ones that come in small batches. But the goal is to run a really tight operation and continue that, and to support. I guess that's one thing I didn't say is like support more. Go to locations, shake hands, give coffee, give money, do what we can to help. That's really what we're trying to do.
Cool. And you said you visit the farms that do the roasting?
Yeah. They're right here in El Salvador. It's 2 steps, right? The farms here are where the beans are obviously grown. So the communities around these farming villages are very rural. And the individuals working there work long, hot, hard days, right? So it's what can we do to incentivize them, make sure that they're getting paid properly, and make sure their families are taken care of, schools, etc. Right? Technology. So basically, the process is the beans are grown here. They are washed and prepared as needed to ship to the United States as a green bean. So they're shipped directly from our farm here in El Salvador to our roaster in the United States. There's no second link. It leaves the farm, ends up in our roaster in the United States. And then what happens is Mathew orders a bag online, and our roaster takes that amount of green coffee. Obviously, this is done in scale, roasts it, and your medium roast guy does a medium batch of coffee, fills your bag, puts it in your box, and sends it your way. So the roasting is done in the United States. It's shipped as green coffee leaving El Salvador, arrives in the United States as green. We roast it, bag it, ship it to you. So it's, essentially like getting warm bread.
Huh.
Right?
There's really no middleman. It just goes Salvador, U.S. consumer.
Yeah, and it's funny because like there was a guy that is from Connecticut, great guy, really nice dude. We spoke for years because I've always like had this itch to kind of start something, and he's like, oh, I get coffees from all over the world. I get some of the best coffees. It's like, cool. Well, can you like where do you get these coffees? Oh, Central and South America. Wow, okay, that's a pretty wide range. Like where? Oh, Brazil. Oh, wow, it's a nice small country you've chosen, right? Can you get a little more specific here? And then you start to realize, like, pardon my language, these guys are full of shit, right? And they're buying from brokers, or they're buying from importers, or they're buying from their buddy that takes them golfing, or whatever the deal is. But there's zero transparency and authenticity. It's all about margin, right?
Yeah.
So his whole thing is, oh yeah, we got these great beans from South America and great flavors, and we can give them to you at X. Okay, well, what farm are they from? Oh man, I don't know. Okay, well, I need to know that, right? So the difference for us is not only can we tell you what farm your coffee was grown at, we can tell you what tree like your beans came from.
Jeez.
So it's fully traceable coffee. I mean, these guys are scientists in this world, and it's incredible in that they, when you add those links to the chain, what happens to the quality, the consistency, everything, right? Because everybody here, unfortunately, takes greed into fact and like, well, I got to make some money too, and he's got to make some money. I got to pay for my wife, so like. And it just chops away at either margin or quality, right? So like the direct from farm to cup thing is pretty cool.
Yeah, and like you said, I don't think many of the bigger name companies can be like, yeah, it grew on this farm and it came from that tree.
No. And we want to keep it that way, right? Like it still means that they grow tons of coffee, right? But it's just like, okay, we have this, manzana or acre of land, and it's got these trees on it, and they were grown at this time, they were harvested on this date, they were put in this bag, and it was shipped, right? So it's like we can tell, right? Because by the time that one's growing again, the one down the street from it is being processed, and that's the next bag going out. So it's just like this cycle that, again, these guys have perfected over, close to 100 years.
Cool. That's actually an outstanding fact that you're able to break it down that granular. Are there any upcoming blends that you're excited about? I know you brought up the Christmas one, but is there one that you're like, you know what? It's not announced yet, but we're super excited for this one.
Something that we're going to do in the spring, because it's so springy, is it's like I don't even know what to call it, but it's obviously a coffee, and it's incredibly citrusy and fruity, but it literally looks as if you're drinking a watered down iced tea. Like you would look at it and say, you'd say like, I don't want that, right? Like to the eye, because you think coffee and you think, some people think black or like dark brown or whatever, right? This is like, tea to the teaiest of levels, probably diluted tea, right? And I remember this guy brewed it at our cupping, and, I'm like, I don't know about this, man. He said, just pretend you got like the blinders on, right? And man, I took a sip of it, and you're like, oh my God, it just like pops you. And you're, what are these? He's like, oh, dude, it's a special, like, blend that we're working on, and it's a different type of bean, and they grow in small batches, and it's like, whoa, right? So, but what you realize is that like people will order one of those, right? Like, yeah, I'll try one of these, and I'll do something wicked funky and try it, and like have my flavors busted out for a little while, and then, you know what, bring me back that medium roast tomorrow, because I need to get back on my skis, kind of thing, right? So people like, I want them to be, I want our things like this that we're going to introduce in 26, probably more like, early spring, late winter, to be like, whoa, right? And not, again, thinking wouldn't be like, oh, we got to sell thousands of bags. No, we might sell just a handful of them, right? but the people would be like, that was the most crazy thing I've ever tasted, right? Again, it might not be your daily go-to. Another one that we have tasted is a blueberry. This coffee's being grown on an old blueberry farm, like legit was growing for years and years. And, that soil gets enriched with, blueberries DNA, I guess, man. And I will tell you this, it brews quite dark, as you can imagine. And again, right before you take a sip, you kind of have this like, I think that's blueberry, man. And, then you take a sip and you're like, what? Full on blueberry, right? So it's pretty wild, but like, I don't foresee us going into like the commercial side of things. Like I don't foresee us doing a pumpkin spice and, to compete with Starbucks. Maybe we'll try, like if people say we really want it, we'll try it. But I foresee us trying to continue to sort of do things the way a little different than everybody else.
Yeah, and that's sometimes going the different road than everybody else is always beneficial.
And like we got our core, right? That'll never change. It's just like,
yeah,
if you introduce something, and I'll also tell you, Matthew, I'm a pretty straight shooter. I've made some major mistakes in this business too, right? So if I introduce this coffee that I think is so wacky and we sell 4 bags of it, it's like, okay, cool, no. Then maybe as funky as it was, it's not what the people want. So like you got to listen to your consumer as well.
Well, absolutely. How do you engage with those the outdoor community, as in your people on social media, your people on just the ones that order a bag? Like, how do you keep engaged with them?
I try to reach out to as many of them as possible via email, just personally. I am a media guy at heart. So, we're constantly exploring different media opportunities. We're getting television proposals sent to us. What can we do to like sell more? But the problem is that no one even knows our brand yet, right? So like, it's hard to go spend this money, and people are all promising you the world, certainly on Meta, that, you have 200%, overnight. And it's like, we're going to go like kind of like the Yeti model a little bit, in that we're going to reach out to in the fishing space, like the captains and the lodges, and say, hey, let me send you coffee. We'll give you coffee. Tell me if you like it. If you do, I'll send you more in return. Send me some pictures, tell your buddies, etc. If there's a tournament we can support. I got connected to a woman who's in overlanding. I didn't even know what overlanding was a year ago, right? But she's got a cool, like, whole community of, Bronco and Toyota overlanders that go in and they do these crazy weekends and they camp out and do all this rad stuff. And it's like, wow, that's kind of cool. I mean, I love that, right? So what I'm doing is I'm trying to support these communities, in all of them, in these niche places that I can, to then, like, that's your base layer. At least I'm thinking this way, right? It's like, all right, I got the guides, I got the outfitters, I got the skiers, I got the surfers, and now it's like, all right, next is the people that want to kind of be those folks, right? So in the fishing world, it's like, you get all the guys that show up on the boat with all the stuff, right? And they see a guy drinking, hey, what's your coffee? Oh, you know what? I'm drinking this coffee. It's Afuera coffee. They support the outdoors, yada, yada. Does that translate into like conversion? Hard to measure. Over long term, it will, right? And in the media business, like I work with a client, this guy, his name is Ryan Bartlett, and he's the CEO of True Classic T-shirts. Massive T-shirt company. And this guy, really planted a seed in my head of like, listen, man, they've gotten big enough that they can do major media partnerships with basketball teams and hockey teams and so on and so forth. But This guy literally would write a message on Twitter and say, hey, the first 100 school teachers that tell me what they need on their Christmas list, like I'm fulfilling it for them with True Classic products, right? And so you'd have these teachers like hit this dude with $700 orders on his Twitter feed. And next thing you know, he's like placing the order and sending it to the teacher. Not for the audience in Twitter to see. He wasn't like posting it. It was more like he was just doing it. And then all of a sudden, this woman was, 5 days later getting this box in the mail. I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is so cool. This CEO from True Classic like sent me this stuff. He said he was going to do it, and he actually did it, which most people are just blown away at that, right?
Well, yeah.
And he's continued to do it with firemen, with policemen, with teachers, with servicemen. And I want to take kind of that approach of like, you know what? I'd rather give my product and let that be my marketing right now. Like, hey, you know what? I love the outdoors. I love coffee. You seem like you do too. Here's a bag. Go brew it. You tell me what you think, right? And I thankfully get more and more people like yourself that are like, hey, you know what? We didn't know what to expect. And my wife and I or myself was blown away. And all right, sweet. So like that works. And does that work more than a TV commercial? It's really hard to measure against. TV, you might be able to see that immediate purchase, right? And you can correlate it. But here it's like, hey, this may take months, right? You send the guy the bag, he brews it a couple times, and then his best buddy comes over and has a cup and goes, oh my God, what is that? And you can't measure any of that. That's just time, patience, and hopefully, a good product. So like, that's where I'm at, is I'm not rushing. I know good things take time. So that's where I'm going with it.
Cool. Now, I got a trick question here for you. Describe
right.
your brand in 3 words.
Authentic, caring, quality.
I like
That's
it.
a trick one, man. I wish you gave me a heads up for that, but that's probably why you didn't do it.
No, that's good. This is the final question. If you could tell people who have never had it before, tell them all about Afuera Coffee. Go for it. What do you got?
We are a face-to-face, human-to-human coffee company. I'm not looking to be Starbucks by any means. I'm just looking to make a difference. And we import, in my opinion, some of the best coffees people will ever consume. And if you love the outdoors and you love coffee and you want to make a difference in some capacity in the outdoors, we're your brand. It's as simple as that. And I would put anybody up for that challenge. Email me, reach out to us on social. I try to engage with people face to face, human to human, mano y mano, whatever, as much as you can, because I feel like in today's digital world, we're all getting way too disconnected from this, right? And I want to do this with my customers, my clients, our partners, and I want everybody to know that we're authentic and we're real, and our coffee will be as good as anybody's that we want to put it up against. I'm confident of that. And, we have impact and we're no BS. And the reason I do say that is because people love to let words like conservation and preservation and all these things like jingle throughout their marketing plans. But then you look at the products and the materials and they're cheap, crappy plastic. And you're like, oh, wow, you want to do all this like conservation and preservation? Well, then use products that reflect that, right? So I guess that's what I would say. It's, like our coffee is above all what we feel the best in the world. But like outside of that, it's the products and the steps that we take to make a difference on top.
Perfect. Where can everybody find Afuera Coffee and yourself?
Yeah, afueracoffee.com. It's AFUERA coffee.com. It also means outside in Spanish, so we do outsideinspanish.com. Myself, we're all over Instagram, Facebook, at Afuera Coffee. Reach out to me through there. My email is Matt, M-A-T-T, at afueracoffee.com. Reach out to me on email. You can reach out to me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, anywhere. If you have any questions, if you need anything as a follow-up, we're here to, earn your business.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Matt, and I'll definitely let you know when everything gets released here.
Thank you. Appreciate your time, Matthew. And I'd be happy to send you guys another bag. So let me know when that one whittles down, and I'll fire you one over as a thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Diving deep into lives, the extraordinary ones. Firefighters, coach, managers, and more. Unique jobs and skills, we break them down to the core. Listen up close, there's so much to explore. Break it down, video games are all the fun. Dissect the passion, see what makes them run. To break it down, podcast shining a light on those who dare to live life a little differently. From sirens wailing to keys softly chiming. Stories to inspire, the moments we're finding. Ooh, from the mundane to the sublime, we unwind. Oh, what makes them tick? What's on their mind? Diving deep into lives, the extraordinary ones. Firefighters, coach, managers, and more. Unique jobs and skills, we break them down to the core. Listen up close, there's so much to explore. Breaking it down, video games are all the fun. Dissect the passion, see what makes them run. To break it down, podcast shining a light on those who dare to live life a little differently. On those who dare to live life a little differently. Each episode